I think I heard you say that in responding to Lois, central government accepted there was a problem with the A12 that would normally have led it to be included in the TPI, the
Yes.
Highways Agency's targeted programme
Yes.
of improvements.
In relation to 2 stretches.
So there were schemes there that you'd normally have expected to have been done in the sort of routine course of events. Then we had what I might call the falling between the cracks of
Yes.
of this thing.
The system changed.
Yeah. So at one point there was central government acknowledgement, acceptance that there was a problem that needed solving.
Yes. And that of course was the whole purpose why multimodal studies were done. There were a number of multimodal studies done.
Correct me if I don't remember this properly, but you will find the response to Lois in a statement by the then Transport Secretary, Alistair Darling, now the Chancellor of the Exchequer, which effectively asked the Highways Agency to take forward phases 1 and 2 for entry
Yes.
into the targeted programme of improvement. Phase 1 by 2015 at the latest, and Phase 2, which is Chancellor to Colchester, in the period after 2015-16.
Yes. But not the further bit, not the bit from Colchester to
But
Copdock.
not beyond Colchester. And it was that that was then in effect set aside when my old department introduced, together with other departments, the Treasury, DCLG, the regional funding prioritisation and
Yes.
allocation process.
Yes.
And this road was then classified as of regional importance.
Yes.
I'll come back.
Shall we let Lord
Yes.
Whitty finish? Because
Yes, of course, sure.
started as some
Well,
interesting
I mean, in the end, we ended a bit of a standoff. I mean, you say this is carefully worded, but it's pretty blunt, really. It's basically saying it's down to you chaps to prioritise it. And looking at it from outside, you haven't prioritised it. Now, so the standoff is, we think this is a national road, therefore, both for the size and the fact that we have other priorities, we are not taking a decision on it. And until the government changes that redefinition, then we're going to continue in a standoff, aren't we? Because neither the regional nor the national are going to prioritise it. In those circumstances, are the bits of the road that you could ever foresee in RFA2, for example, that you might be able to prioritise within the regional structure, or are we going to continue the standoff for another round?
Well, I think my preferred option would be that this road would be treated in terms of the national road network, and because of the size, and also because in a post-Eddington landscape, its value to the national economy, particularly connecting international ports. One could argue in favour of it being reclassified. If, however, it remains within the purview of regional funding allocations, then I suspect its prospects would be improved if it was broken up into more manageable chunks. Recognising, however, that the reason why the road needs to be improved in the first place was because it has been improved in the past in small chunks, and that in part directly relates to some of the problems on it, but it was improved over a number of years to differing standards of the day, and that's why it needs to be further improved now. And sometimes doing something on a very piecemeal basis doesn't give you the best value for money in the long run, although it may be a way of getting it sooner rather than never.
Just before I do that, I want to precede that. There's a question Lord Whitty raised, and perhaps I can return to it because I don't think we've had an answer. This falling between the cracks issue could apply to the question of ownership and championing. It's possible the Highways Agency may say, well, we'll do what you like, but we're not paying for it, so we don't strategically drive any longer what happens to the A12. You've got to determine what happens in the region and set your priorities, and we'll come along and do the engineering and the delivery of it. You might say, well, you, the Highways Agency, are best placed to give a strategic view on this. Now, who is championing anything on the A12 when the A12 is classified as a regional road? Do you champion it in EERA? Do you expect the Highways Agency to champion it?
Yes, we expect everyone to champion it. The scheme promoter is the Highways Agency, The slight problem is, if you like, that they say, well, we're accountable only to the Department for Transport, and therefore we will comply only with national government policy, irrespective of the strength of regional views. And this is a long-running issue that I'm sure you recognise from your professional past.
As I left the scene, so to speak, about 12 months back, the Highways Agency and the department were moving to a new position where, because of problems with apparent cost increases on road schemes, much of it more illusion than reality because the price was fixed too early. But we're moving to a world where there will be a pot of money given by my old department to the Highways Agency for agreed scheme preparation, and only when you've got a much better proposed scheme with clearer costs will it then be allowed any kind of programme entry, and then there will be a budget for final delivery. So where does the money come from in what will be the brave new world for the Highways Agency, we're back to who champions the A12, to do scheme preparation, either for the existing Phase 1 and Phase 2, which you say is not properly cooked, or for it broken down into bits and pieces?
Yeah.
Who pays and who commissions the work? It's your question.
Who pays the preparation work?
It's all met from the Highways Agency's budget. No one else has a budget to do that.
Well, we will ask them this afternoon. I suspect we will be told by the Highways Agency, but it's not a priority for us. See Tom Harris's PQ at the end of April.
Yeah. I can see how you can see that as a circular argument, yes.
Just to pick up a comment you made a little bit later, you were slightly guarded, and I understand why, but you did say that the scheme didn't seem ready even for consideration within the prioritisation framework developed for the RFA process.
Yes.
Who would be responsible for working schemes up to at least to the stage where they could enter the prioritisation analysis?
I'm very clear about that. That is the Highways Agency. No one else has the locus to be preparing schemes which should be promoted by the Highways Agency.
Thank you. That's an answer that we'll look at further in the day.